I was really having hard time to firstly get over my breakup, and I wasn't really feeling hopeful.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and I just didn't know. I thought I was really in a bad vicious cycle where I was just not able to get out of it, and it felt like a lot of struggle to talk to people and express my boundaries or do something which I like, because I thought the more I'll do, the better something I'll get back. But that is something, it was just in my mind. And I tried, it's still uncomfortable to put boundaries in front of people,
Mm-hmm.
but now I know that it's still serving me the best. I'm doing it for my own good. And about the law of attraction thing, I think uh, what I tried to do is just I saw many videos on law of attraction and to manifest something. Uh, and the moment I started working on myself and the mindset I'm trying to create, the more positive mindset I had about future, because since I wasn't really feeling hopeful at first, I thought it's not gonna nothing is gonna happen. But
Mm-hmm.
the moment I started feeling inside what I desire, I felt like it's happening there. I don't have to worry about when, um, but it is happening, and I started being hopeful and started being uh, present. Uh, and after some time, I think I could even let go of that desire so that I don't cling on it, um, or even question it later, like maybe after a couple of months, that why isn't it happening anymore? I have waited long enough.
Yeah.
I think I could even surrender and let it go, because I hardly cared about when it will happen. I I was, for example, about the guy, about my ex. I just wanted that apology, and that was all. Um, I wouldn't take an answer for it. I was just not accepting that I was left just like that. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and I accepted the fact that he did, and um, and I let it go, regardless of whether I get that apology or not. I made sure that I don't have to cling on it and disturb my mind thinking about, that is where I could let it go, because it wasn't serving me. Thinking about that apology wasn't serving me. It was just making me mad.
Mm, yeah. And so do you feel like over the course of the time then with the different mindset tools and stuff, it just allowed you to kind of shift your focus more on the things you can control versus all the like what ifs or the fears or the doubts or the other things
Yeah,
that like we all naturally want to control those things, but a lot
yeah.
of times we can't. So just finding more clarity in yourself each moment.
Yeah, I think, that really helped me to focus more on the things I can control indeed. And but I was still in between that work. I was still on and off,
Mhm.
because that questioning was still there, that why am I not feeling it? Even though, okay, I wouldn't try to control it, but I wasn't really up with it. I wasn't
Yeah.
feeling that inside. It should be coming from inside, but later uh, it came natural, because the practice was hard and it was taking time. It was an uncomfortable process.
Lots of like repetition. Yeah.
Yeah,
Constantly.
it was repetition. And then even though I was just affirming it, but at the end of the day, you feel like this was still feeling off. I didn't completely feel that
Mm.
I'm focusing my mindset somewhere else, which I can control. The uncontrollable part, that still made me a little anxious, but I know it won't serve me good even if I think about it. So I just
Yeah.
chose not to think of about it at all. Um,
Yeah. And where would you say like how do you feel, I guess, are were there any changes or shifts you noticed like while working through the program that you think people might relate to who are maybe struggling with kind of the overthinking or the negative focus or even with breakups in general and stuff that they're working through? Did you notice stuff throughout the course of the program that helped shift that for you?
Um, so you mean from what I learned from others, from their stories?
No, I mean, like, from your story and your experience through the program, what others could learn from you and, like, how you yeah, like, how
Okay.
you handled and overcame some of those things.
Um, yeah, I think the major part of it was all about where I was coming from.
Mhm,
Since this culture thing has made people felt suppressed most of the time because they have to be a certain way. And I think that's what anybody can learn from is it's you can still break that pattern.
mhm,
And and the more you put that boundaries on people around you who belong to the to that culture, they at first don't agree to it, or even they don't understand it, and they might just uh, try to argue with that. And I just stepped back. I didn't really I didn't want to explain it, but then the surroundings changed too when I affirmed in front of them that it really just doesn't work with me. uh,
mhm,
so I affirmed there too, and that happened. That environment changed, and in case others, I don't know about the learning experience, but I could see the change in that mindset. That uh, it's still your choice to break uh,
mhm.
from that pattern. It's still I still have get to decide uh, that. People can come out of that vicious cycle. Sometimes it feels impossible,
Yeah,
uh, and I was stuck in that that cycle for long time, and that still comes back though, uh, and that still disturbs me because then I feel like, okay, what I worked for so long and now why it creeps back in, and but then I
yeah.
just don't have to give energy to that, and then it goes away. Uh,
Yeah, and it's like it can be such a it's a constant process, like this kind of work too, because little triggers, like old patterns will still try and creep in sometimes. And then it
yeah,
is, like you said, it's a choice of if we give our full power to it or if we're able to catch it and be like, oh wait, I don't want to go down that path. So I'm gonna
yeah,
redirect and shift elsewhere. And I think like what's been really inspiring for me in watching your journey is just that you have been battling like a really deeply rooted culture with a lot of beliefs. And so
mhm,
you have been working so hard on creating those healthy boundaries and like honoring yourself and what you need and what you want. And I think so many people can learn from that and be inspired from that because so many of us are people pleasers and we do kind of dishonor our own needs in an attempt to please family or friends or society. And you've been facing like so many different things with a lot of areas of your life and constantly trying to set up new boundaries for yourself that will help you. So I think it's really powerful.
yeah, uh, yeah. It's really true. And at the same time, because I am in the dating world right now, um, it's still a back and forth where I realized later probably that I was getting uh, my energy was getting drained. Uh,
Mhm.
because I sometimes there are people who are quite convincing with the fact that it's a two-way street. You have to do something to get something back, and
Yeah.
then so it's really important to realize that what that person is trying to do to you. Um, and I'm learning that, but I'm still not there yet. But I think I have faced these things in past couple of weeks, and that too before my examinations and stuff. So it was quite uncomfortable for me that I wanted to implement all those things, but then I was trying to concentrate on my studies too.
Yeah.
So
Juggling
I
a lot of things at
yeah,
this
yeah.
time.
So
Yeah.
my energy was drained out there, and I just didn't know how to communicate that. Uh, I think that's the part I'm trying to learn, to communicate that boundary, that how it is making me feel.
Hmm.
And when it goes back and forth, when they try to test you or push that boundary, it
Yeah.
gets more uncomfortable. And then
Totally.
since I broke up and I had that story in mind of my self-worth, that and if that creeps back in, that okay, you shouldn't be that difficult uh,
Hmm.
by putting boundaries, then you have to go back and forth with yourself first before dealing with the guy, and that's kind of
Yeah.
uh, uh, uncomfortable too, because I don't
Yeah.
know what to say to that guy next or how to communicate with them.
Yeah. And you're having to be extra mindful with all of
Yeah.
it and what's gonna feel best. And yeah. I'm curious, like, if you were to, like, if anyone was interested in like working through this program or working inside this group, what would you say to them, or what would you say are some of the biggest shifts you've noticed, or just like your favorite parts or anything from that?
I think the favorite part was releasing the old stories uh,
Mm,
and building up something else on the same aspect. For example, if I
yeah.
have made up the story on self-worth, just creating a new story on it and affirming it, so that you are not uh, putting your energy on that old story, because that would
Any
help with
longer.
believing. Yeah, that would make
Mhm.
you believe that's the truth, but it's not.
Yeah.
The that comes the because that's when you start making progress. Otherwise, if you don't release it the further part of it would be a little haphazard, and
Hmm.
won't get that clarity. I think I got clarity there itself.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. I love that. And I think that is like what I love about this work is like we all have the power to do that.
Mhm.
And we don't, but like we don't think we do, because usually we're so stuck in our story or our identity and what we believe about ourselves.
Yeah.
And we think like this is just how it is and how it'll be forever. And when we do start releasing, then we can bring in like new beliefs and new stories. And as you said, then you start to feel it more, where you're like, okay, I can actually feel this now, which then makes it a little bit easier to believe. And then you can keep making those steps each day.
Hmm. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Definitely.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, it was a lot of practice though, because if I give up in between, it's not gonna move ahead by itself at the
Yeah.
same step. There are many different phases where you have to work on it, and if I skip one step, it's still not recommended.
Yeah.
So that was needed. That release was needed for me.
Hmm. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I'm so glad that you did the work, because that is like,
Yeah, I was really happy to do it, and the group was really supportive in all the times, because uh, I thought at first I thought it was like just any other group of friends. They might just tell that, oh, this is a pretty common thing, get over it, or something like that, because breakers happens every now and then. But
yeah.
this the getting this new perspective on how to deal with it, and how to, I mean, go ahead with focusing on my energy even after the breakup, because
Hmm.
all the energy goes to him after the
Yeah.
breakup. It was hard to shift that. So yeah,
Hmm.
I mean, that was really helpful. I had, as if during this pandemic, I had a lot of people I was not in talking terms with, but then I found this one, and I thought, okay, I have my babe, I have my buddies, I can talk to
Yeah.
them. I'm not alone.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
was
I'm
definitely.
so glad. Hmm. And do you want to share, like, just quickly one last thing? Um, yeah, just because the self-worth was such a big thing in like setting the boundaries, speaking up in roommates, in work, in relationships with family and with your ex. Like, do you want to just share? Because I'm so proud of you. Like, I almost want to start crying because it, like, you really have, like, I just think of our first call together and where you are now, the the belief in yourself and just knowing that you do deserve better and you deserve to have what you want is so powerful. And do you want to share anything about that at all for anyone who can maybe relate?
Um, so I think this program helps in everything. It just doesn't have to be self-worth. Setting boundaries is one thing which is very, very basic, which people don't really understand
Yeah.
because everybody's programmed in a different way to please, at least do something for their family. And uh, I mean, I would just say that it was helpful overall in other aspects too. For example, my
Hmm.
career, where I know I'm not good at it, but that doesn't mean I don't have potential to do something better, something out of my career zone.
Yeah.
Uh, and I was still, even though I wasn't really liking that part yet, I was still happy about it that I'm learning, I'm still growing there. I didn't beat myself up then and there.
Yeah.
That used to
Yeah.
happen
You still
every time.
could make the most out of it.
Yeah, yeah, and still being grateful. During the Zoom calls, I think that these were my favorite parts too, that we usually ended up
Hmm.
saying gratitude. uh, that
Yeah.
that changes uh, your vibe, and you could take in different perspective. Even if somebody else is trying to explain you something, you can take it in. Otherwise, if you're closed off, you might not even get it. So
Mhm.
the group calls were amazing. They were really, really helpful, and the content in the program, they're as detailed as possible, which can really talk to you.
Mhm.
Sounds personal.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm so glad. Well, it's been like such an honor getting to witness this and see everything that you've shifted through and just your whole demeanor and energy. I know one of the girls said it on the group call a few weeks ago of how like you're just radiating and like is so filled with joy and love, and it's really beautiful for all of us to see. And I'm so excited for your career and relationships and everything that's to come, and then to continue seeing you on the monthly calls and being able to just like check in and keep up
Yeah,
to date on where you're at and everything.
yeah, I do look forward to my journey ahead, and this was so helpful, Kara. I can't thank you enough.
Aw, you're welcome. I'm so glad that you're here.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, of course. Amazing. Thank you so much